A factor which I felt to be of importance was that I was able to register subtle gradations of experience, which eventually enabled me to assess each insight independently and pinpoint its type. Alongside common psychic perceptions, sensory sensings, clairvoyance, and clairaudience, there were much finer variations of the same order, experienced in different areas of the brain, increasingly impactive and leading to other dimensional states of altered consciousness, which lasted sufficiently long to evaluate clearly. Some types of clairvoyance manifest in a swift succession of scenes, like a quickly run film, in the frontal area of the head immediately behind the brow. Another form is superimposed upon the eyes themselves, like a projected image from the brain, existent simultaneously with normal vision, though lasting only a few moments. A third type, exceedingly vivid and more stable, is centralized in the brain itself, beneath the apex of the head, and in some manner viewed interiorly. A fourth manifestation is of scenes projected outside the head, seen from every conceivable angle, as if the head were a thousand-faceted organ of perception. These images are clear, solid in appearance, stationary or moving, and visible for many moments. All the foregoing are communicative and imbue the mundane consciousness with precognitive information or data relating to a normally hidden dimension. There is also a non-visual form of perception without attributes, giving insight to the root and purpose of human existence, and to a strata containing prototypes and formulae for the evolution of all species. It is also possible to detach sufficiently from the limitations imposed by our non-usage or inadequate usage of large areas of the brain, and to rise in consciousness to a state beyond time, where it can be perceived as a structure, already laid out, with past, present, and future coexistent. From this angle of perception, time and space are one, and space is simply the dimension of time. Following this period was a gradual reactivation of the psi faculty, and certain experiences, unlike any touched on before, were registered, affecting the spinal column and brain, and producing other dimensional insights in which life on Earth appeared in a new, most purposeful context. These intermittent states climaxed in a powerful cosmical experience, in full waking consciousness, which I registered clearly, remembered fully, and recorded as far as was possible. In part of this experience, my mundane awareness united with my higher self, or spirit, and knew with its knowledge and saw with its sight. It is impossible to communicate this adequately, but I perceived vast epochs of time and the process and purpose of creation. I existed in a timeless dimension and simultaneously in this one. I was aware of other cosmical intelligences, far more evolved than my own. These beings should not be confused with spacemen or supermen. They have evolved beyond all planetary form, and I was merely one pupil amongst many, all undergoing some manner of quickening and applied stimulus. Mankind is a cradle or chrysalis, in which such potential exists as a possibility, or in an embryonic latency. I could not believe it, yet I seemed to be connected or plugged in unknowingly to a group of souls who at some point had made adverse growth. This was frightening, especially as I saw later that some were incarnate and already known to me. I could not bring myself to rationally accept these insights, if such they were. I was afraid of judging or attempting to assess others. Another fear, a major one, was why. If I was indeed linked with such as I inwardly glimpsed, was I in like position and burdened with karma of the most terrible kind? It all lay beneath the surface of consciousness, as if I had two lives or consciousnesses running parallel, but both saying quite different things. Body in light sleep, awareness of slight shift of focus, not an ordinary dream. I was on a beach. Someone had been speaking to me about evolutionary development. I suddenly observed the sea quite close. The tide was static, and ranks of human figures arose from the sea and moved towards land, those in the forefront coming onto the sand. I was horrified. Their limbs were stumps, their skin dried and blackened. They had an air of hopelessness and despair. I grasped these were mutations caused by some form of pollution I assumed radioactive. I remember screaming, not able to bear the prospect of a future that held this. My unseen commentator said there was a way out for them. An eddy like a small, circular whirlwind rose from the sand. I perceived a spiral of time, like a bridge, rising from the juncture immediately prior to the catastrophe glimpsed. Those equipped to rise on it moved into a new dimension, a new epic, in which opportunity and hope, combined with hard work, ensured correct progression. This bridges constituted a screening process, whereby persons capable of development under certain conditions and able to integrate the added impetus were separated from the rest. The criterion had nothing to do with intellect or related ability. The quality of interior response determined it.